Hey guys, so I bought this camera back in June. It's a Fujifilm X-T50. This is kind of my first introduction into like a actual camera, not just like a little iPhone or like a Polaroid Instax-esque instant camera. I used it probably every day for about 4 months. I took about 3,000 photos, give or take. And the lens I used was a 23mm f2. And I just kind of wanted to make this video to kind of showcase some of the photos I took during that time and just kind of my introduction into photography. So I picked about 35 photos that were my favorite, and I just kind of want to break them down and just kind of show you my progression from when I first got the camera to where I'm at now. The first handful of photos are about 2 to 3 weeks of having it. I already was messing around with like the film recipes, which I've really enjoyed so far. This one, just kind of simple power lines of I just like the contrast between the colors. These two right here are probably what made me love photography and just start like deep diving into it so much. I just pulled off to the side of the road and took this photo. It was a little hazy because of some fires that were happening, but I think they turned out pretty well. The last one with the truck towing a horse trailer, I think would have been my favorite if I used a better film recipe. This one just adds a little bit to like more burnt orange yellow to it, but you live and you learn. This one was actually the first photo I ever took like out in public, like on a street. I think it actually turned out fairly well. I like that the detail of the sun hitting the building, and you can see like the ornate trim around the windows, and I kind of like the stark contrast of the shadow. So these next handful were kind of inspired by someone I follow on Instagram. They're a great photographer. I believe it's Kavika. I could be mispronouncing that, but that's my best shot at it. He does kind of like these very like subliminal, kind of like maybe like an eerie, like very empty photography style that's beautiful. I love it, and this is kind of my little take on it. So this one is of a bowling alley that might have been closing like permanently. I could be wrong. But the lighting of just like the bright and vibrant bowl sign and everything else is very like dark blue greens, and just kind of like that really yellow orange interior lighting just gives it kind of like a nice nostalgic like fuzzy feeling. These next two are of a mechanic shop, and the lifts are outside and they have like overhead fluorescent lighting and just a film recipe, and then just the colors of the interior being that vibrant blue and white. It just kind of gives you that calm and just maybe an eerie feeling like the last one of the bowling place did too. I would probably say these are probably my top 10 photos so far. It's just something about them I really enjoy. This one is definitely another like missed opportunity on my part. I used a film recipe that had a little bit too much grain effect and a little bit too much, I don't know, it just kind of muddled out the photo. If it had a better film recipe, I think it would turn out great, because the subject of like these two guys going, I think maybe bodyboarding or surfing in the ocean would have been cool, but user error. I drove past this building probably 5 or 7 years ago, and it has such a distinct look to it. It's very angular and sloped. It probably actually took me a day or so to find it, and I caught it perfect timing, golden hour, and it just highlights like that golden, like warm, kind of like maybe like 90s like plastic feel to it. And this interior shot is really nice because you kind of follow like that gold rail into the glass where you can see in, and it's very art deco, I guess, with like the plants and like there's a tree inside the building. Odd building, very cool though. I started to do some photo walks, and these two are at nighttime. I really like the UPS store's like bright blue sign with like more of like a green like glow kind of around the building. This barber shop is the complete opposite of the UPS store. It's definitely more of a warm cream colored lighting and building, but you can still see like the barber shop's like workstations, and it just kind of has like a nice like, I don't know, like I kind of get like an Animal Crossing feeling to it, but that's just me. So at this point, it's like September, give or take, and I've had the camera for about 3 months or so. And I can definitely see I started getting more of a a style of what I like taking photos of. Like I really like more of the warm woody tones, but with like the hard contrast of like the darker shadows. And especially at nighttime, I kind of like steer more towards like that eerie, like liminal space with like the green or blue lighting. With that blue lighting, this one has like a really blue like street light on it, and the Porsche is like a nice like foresty green, and it kind of works well together. With these next two, I'm back at it again with that more of that darker, more greenish lighting, that more of like that subliminal eerie. I like that this was just down an alleyway and like this door was just wide open with like the interior light on, just kind of gives it more like a why is it open eerie vibe. This one, I'm again taking another photo of a mail center. I think this is just like a post office, but like the fluorescent lighting gives it like very just like back rooms-esque feel to it that I've just been drawn to. This is probably one of my most favorite photos I've taken so far. I love the lighting, I love the shadows, I love just like the mundane subject matter of it, and just like everything combined just makes it beautiful to me. Yeah, I'm speechless with how well this turned out. It was definitely when I took it and I was like, it's a throwaway photo, and then I came back to it, saw it, and I was like, damn, I'm in love with it. That's all I gotta say. So I took these while at a state park near where I live. None of them really stand out. I just love the coloring and like the vibe they have. It's kind of very like a Western dryness to them. I tried experimenting with a different like blocking with some of the trees around. But yeah, nothing too crazy, but just a handful that I really liked. This one especially caught my eye. You kind of like look past the trees into like following the little river down, and you see like the vibrant greens and like the flowers in that pasture, and just kind of cool photo in general. This one's definitely my second runner-up on this trip. Most of it's blocked out by a tree, and it's kind of like more dimly lit, but it makes you kind of zoom out and look at the sandstone mountain and like how it's so bright compared to the rest of the picture. It's kind of a cool contrast. I fully haven't gotten comfortable taking pictures or videos of people like nearby or even in like the actual picture themselves, but I took this one really quickly. I just kind of like the look because it's just two people walking, and then the mountains are kind of in the background, just kind of a cool little vibe to it. This one was at another, I think it's like a little park, but it's not like a really special photo, but just this tree it's the only thing that's in the frame really, but it's just black and it just kind of like draws you in. I don't know, I thought it was cool. I was walking back to the truck and the sun was setting, and I like turned my truck on, and then so the headlights were flashing on like the grass in front of me, and just the lighting really just hit differently. And so I actually filmed the video first, and I was like, oh, I want to try to take a picture of it, and I think the picture kind of turned out well. It might look better in video form, but I don't know, I actually like the coloring of it all. So went up and down the coast with my girlfriend on a little trip. I definitely stepped out of my comfort zone and took some photos with people in them, and I think they turned out fairly well. I love the colors of this. It's very blue and like kind of dark and drabby looking. I definitely stepped out of my comfort zone because this guy was thrown in a crab pot, and so it's kind of adds a little bit of motion to it, and just the coloring I dig. This one was probably one of my top photos I took. I like that the contrast between all the colors is really vibrant, like the red sign, the red trim with also like the corrugated rusty tin metal. But then like the big thing, like it makes you like focus down this hallway that's kind of dimly lit, and then it's really bright, and you can see like a young couple just looking out of the boardwalk, and it's just kind of a cute little area. This photo has such like an off-balance feel to it because there's so much industrial warehouse stuff going on the right side of this dock area, and on the left is just ocean, and it's just flat and still. But in the middle of it, you can see a bunch of crab pots and this worker, I think, who clean out a tub. It just kind of adds a nice atmosphere to it. None of these photos are like extraordinary, but they all kind of taught me something. They have like a thing I really like about them. This first one, all the boats are in the harbor, but you can kind of see the front of the boat just like one after another. It's kind of cool. The first Hope, I really like that the reflection of the water, because it's so calm, you can basically read it upside down. It's just kind of like a mirror effect. This one, I had fun playing with like the dark greens, and it's just kind of like the dark overall photo, but just the ocean and kind of like the sand is so bright. Not a good photo, but just all these kind of taught me something. None of these photos are like fantastic. They all have something I really like about them, but it was just the atmosphere of when I was taking them was perfect. It was about sunset. A lot of the guys were cleaning up their boats for the day. It was just me walking around the docks, just taking photos of this area at different angles and different lighting conditions. It was just a really peaceful time to do it. The bridge adds like some architecture, and the boats and some of the photos have like people cleaning the boats. Just adds such a environment, and just, I don't know, it just really speaks to me. I really had a blast taking some of these photos. And then yeah, it was just honestly an amazing time. This was at the last beach that we stopped at for the day. It was during like sunset. I haven't really learned or mastered how to take photos during like that golden hour-esque period. But this one was really cool because there's a couple walking down the beach, and it's just those two. It was just kind of a cute little photo. This was just like a perfect time to end the day. Below us was there's like two kids and a mom just playing. It was just like the lighting was perfect, so I snapped this photo kind of this like fence area of the opening, and the kid and the mom running through it just kind of like perfectly matched up. It was just so calm, and it was just so like fun just seeing like a family enjoying the sunset and the beach. So those are some of the photos I took in the past 4 months of owning the Fujifilm X-T50. I had an amazing time in like journey into photography, and I didn't realize how much I'd enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the video and have an amazing day. Bye.